Hi everybody, I'm going to show you how to put in one of these sinks. If Ruby here would leave me alone. Move up, there you go. The sink is made to, I'm showing you this upside down, and the sink's made to go in with these rails right next to the edge of the wood here. So you have to cut it to size to where it fits right against these rails here. And I was lucky, mine cut and it was perfect, and I didn't have to do anything to it, like do a little extra trimming or anything like that. But here's the type of clip that holds it in. It has a ball which fits into this track here, see? And that's what locks the sink down. Then it has a reverse thread on it which goes up through this bottom hole, and you go backwards on it and it goes in. And it has a screwdriver tip in the top. So after you hook the clip down like this, you stick your screwdriver in the top and you tighten it up, and it pulls the whole thing down. And this outer lip is supposed to have a type of plumber's putty or bead of silicone, whatever you prefer to put on there. And the way this fits on here, I'll put one on here real quick. I'll kind of give you an idea. These bolts come in long lengths too. This one comes with a standard length, and it's barely large enough to clamp this sink down. See, that's how they fit right there. Then you take a screwdriver, you put it in the little slot there, and you tighten this down. And there, that holds the sink in right there. That'll suck the sink right up against your plumber's putty or whatever type of beading material you want to put around the outer edge of the sink. From the upper side, you just run a little bead around before you set the sink down onto it. Or you can roll the plumber's putty and stick it on the edge of the sink and then put it on. But I'm showing you this all upside down here so you can see what's going on underneath the counter. But I've made up all the little pieces here. They're all ready to be put in. But I'm going to go ahead and take this back out, and I'm going to put plumber's putty underneath mine. So I'm going to go ahead, turn the camera off. I'm going to do that, then I'm going to tighten these all down. I can show you that process if you'd like to see it. All right, I'll be back with you in just a second. Okay, I'm putting the... Sorry about that, guys. Check the camera. Let me center that again. I'm putting a bead of sealer around this sink. Can you see that? And I'm using this. This is made by DAP. It's a sealer for kitchen and bath, and it's got a microban in it to help you not get any of the like black mold around the edges and stuff. It won't grow nasty things in it to make your job look bad, especially in an area that's going to be around water all the time. But anyway, I'm just putting a nice bead around this thing here so it won't leak. I don't want water seeping under it. Got to make sure you put plenty in there so it's taller than the edge of the sink flange. I'm running out. I hope I make it. I think I will. All right. Put a little extra right there, just to make sure. And this is bisque color, and it doesn't really matter because it just does it. You're not going to see it. Okay, so I've got to make sure I turn this sink right. That's the front, so this is the back. This is the back where the faucet's going to be. This is so much easier to do if you do it off the with the countertop not attached. Now this is live, guys, so if I start cussing, you know what's going on. Trying not to make a mess. Okay, what's holding it here? A little bit right there. There we go. Now we're set. So you can see it's all sealed down right now. So now I'm going to want to start putting these on. Now I got stuff on my hands. But I want to give you a close-up view of this. Yeah, I got it all over me. That's what they look like. Now when they're on, they look like this. This goes in the channel. This bites into the edge of the wood. And these come in longer length, like I mentioned before, but I don't have them, so I'm going to make these work. So I put them in like this, and I'm just going to have to force it up over the edge. Maybe I can get a little bit more room here. Okay. Boy, this is just barely going to work. But there it is. So I'll get this one tightened down. There it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the rest of these so you don't have to sit there and watch me do all the monotonous part of it. And I'll bring you back after I have them down, cinched down, and we'll roll this thing over and see what the top looks like. Well, here they are installed. You can see the sealer down there. The little nub, the little head is down inside the rail, and you leave the little crosshair, the screwdriver slot at the top. They're kind of confusing right when you first do them. Okay, I'm gonna roll this over and see what this looks like. So I might have a little bit of cleanup work to do at the top and the bottom. But other than that, it looks pretty darn good. I'm going to go ahead and put the sink in next. I mean the faucet in next, and I'm going to put the drain in, and I'll take you along for that too. So let me get this cleaned up and we'll get at that. Okay, I'm back. There's the sink all cleaned up. I just put the faucet in. It's basically 2 nylon bolts that come up through the bottom side, and they're hand tightened. You just center this where you are, hand tighten them. Pretty simple. I think anybody could do that, so I didn't film that. But the drain might be a different story. This is what your drain looks like for this sink. It has a little basket drainer in there, but we don't have to worry about that little strainer right now. I just want to show you this. There's the drain. It has a locking nut. It has a paper gasket, and it has a rubber gasket. Now, to put this thing in, it also has this. This is a compression fitting for 1.5 inch plastic pipe. I'm not using this in my build, so this is being tossed. What I'm going to use is this RV drain, Camco RV drain, see? And that screws right into there after I get it in. See? And that'll make a nice watertight seal. But for right now, to put the drain in, what you do is you take the locking nut off of it. You take the 2 washers off, and remember, the paper washer, or it could be a light plastic, goes to the bottom. That goes in between this locking ring and the rubber gasket. So that leaves you with just this. This is the only part that goes in the sink. What you want to do is put you a light bead of a sealant, silicone or bathroom sealant. Plumber's putties are really popular one here too, and that's what I was going to use for this whole thing. But my plumber's putty, both of the packages got hard, so that was out. And it's at night right now, so I had no way to, Sunday, and there's no way I can go out and get anything. So I'm using this, and it'll work just fine. So this isn't really what seals it anyway. This keeps debris and stuff from getting down under the edge and causing a mess. And remember, this is the microbial stuff, so this won't grow mold. This is good stuff for that. I showed that to you earlier. It's this DAP Quick Seal, kitchen and bath. But anyway, the next thing you do, well, I'm going to have to tilt this up a little bit. I'll turn it towards you. Is you want to insert this drain right like that. And I'll scoot this over a little so it quits walking around on me. Next thing you do is you put the rubber washer on, then you put the paper washer on. Then you put the lock ring on. And you're going to have a little bit of cleanup to do inside the sink, but when you do that, it's just like that when you put the sink in. You want to wipe that stuff off with a clean paper towel. If you use your dirty old finger or something, it's going to get in it and it'll be in it forever. And you'll be staring at it for the rest of the time that you wishing you hadn't done that. Okay, there's a special little tool that goes in here and it fits in between these two. You can use a small pair of needle nose or anything to hold this still while you put a wrench on this and just snug that down. Then and this rubber gasket will make a watertight seal here. So inside, this is what you get. And mine didn't make a mess this time. Got lucky. But you can see that this sink edge come out really nice. Okay, and turn this back around. I'm going to go ahead and just for time being, I'm going to go ahead and screw this on. And the last one I put on, I didn't put any tape or anything on it, and it sealed up just fine. It butts up against that nut, and I didn't have any problem with any leakage whatsoever. But if you're feeling comfortable with that, you can always wrap a little bit of the white Teflon tape. This sink and drain has a instruction manual or paper with it too, and the sink had full instructions on it also, and it talked about how to cut, where to cut the hole, how to cut the hole. It explains those little clips I was showing you right there, but not very well. I read the whole thing the first time and I just had to play with it till I figured it out. And it also tells you how to cut out the method where you drill the holes and use a jigsaw, not the plunge cut method, this method. And this is the typical method people use to, the safe way to do it. And well, with that out of the way, these are my shark bite fittings. It has the valve, and it has the fitting itself right here, and it has a little cover, which is kind of nice. Keeps it looking clean. And this part here does not need a, sorry, I'm trying to hold this up and talk at the same time. It doesn't need any thread tape, no Teflon tape, because you can see that it has a compression fitting in there. There's a nylon piece in there, see it? So basically, you just take those, finger tight them till they're nice and snug, right like that. And you got your hot and cold water lines. And that's the shark bite fitting that's in here, so it's really easy to attach to. It will, let me put this down for a second. the shark bite fittings will attach to that red, hot and cold, red and blue PEX pipe, see? They just slide right in, they lock in. It's supposed to be waterproof, like I told you last time if you watched the video. First time using this, and everybody's given me pretty good reviews on it. So that's what I have for you with the sink right now. And when I get to putting that stove in, I'll show that to you too. Even though it's just going to be probably 4 screws and it's going to be in. It's a pretty simple deal there. The gas line might be a different story, but I'm going to be putting that in later. Because of the thickness of this stove, I did have to cut out on the back side here, see? That's where my propane line is going to go in for the stove. But it was just too thick. I only had 1 inch to work with, so I had to dig it out and make room for me to turn the bolt. I'm going to put like an L90 gas fitting there in brass, and then I'm going to hook the gas coming out this way. Okay, and I will also show that to you when I do it. Well, so far so good. Thank you for watching.